welcome to 20 Minutes. I'm Nadia Naqi with you. Today we have with us Raza Rumi, who's the editor of the Friday Times, as well as the executive director for Naya Daur, the digital platform. And we're going to be discussing what exactly is happening to Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. One after the other, we see the leaders just leaving, calling it quits, not only to the party, but also to politics. Some of them, of course, will continue in different parties, as we can see. But some of them are just going to stay away from politics. There's a lot of rumors that they have been asked, pressurized to leave Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. How far is this true? This is all what we're going to be discussing today with Raza. Thank you so much for joining us. So when we spoke last and what happened after that, and now where we are standing, it doesn't seem anything new happening on the political landscape in Pakistan. Do you think anything different is happening? When you compare it with the past political parties, when they have been in trouble and crisis with the establishment?
Thank you, Nadia. I think since we spoke last, many things have changed. In particular, May 9th happened. And May 9th was a turning point in our recent crises. You know, this crisis that actually started at the end of 2021 when Imran Khan fell out with General Bajwa, and ultimately leading to his ouster in April of 2022. And now May 9th was this completion or the pinnacle of his separation. Yesterday, he even tweeted and used divorce as a metaphor. Forced divorces, he said, that were being managed by the establishment. So your view is absolutely correct. This is nothing new. Parties, both PMLN, the PPP, and the MQM, they have gone through these cycles of establishment, trying to break them into pieces, manage them, etc. And so this is Imran Khan's turn now. The same institution that actually, nurtured his image and helped him gain power in 2018, now, after May 9th, seems to have closed its ranks and is now determined to teach him a lesson, And in particular, Nadia, we had talked about, I think, previously, all the times that we have spoken here and elsewhere. I had indicated that there were divisions within the establishment, and that we knew that from April 2022 onwards, there was, there was sympathy within the rank and file because Imran Khan represents that class, middle class, professional class, and B, that it was assumed that some senior generals might be inclined towards his politics and his return. But May 9th has changed everything because all these dissenting voices now seem to be, siding with the army leadership. And, the anger that I have heard from my sources, and I'm sure you've also heard within the institution about, burning of the Corps Commander's house, checkposts, desecration of the martyrs' installations is extremely, extremely high. Now, some people say, well, these are protests and the democracy, we should do that. But then we also have to think about the implications. When such attacks happen, what do Pakistan's friends and foes think of the country? What conclusion they draw about the army, which apparently on May 9th, these installations seemed insecure and vulnerable to very small groups of men and women who could go and do the pillage. So it is not a good image for Pakistan.
Yeah. So Raza, it was like, he had been attacking, he was with the establishment narrative. But I think, these protests meant probably as waging a war against the army. This is how probably I look at it, or probably the institution looks at it. But what I need to ask you is that there was a lot of propaganda going on, or probably they actually believed. Some of the retired officers had been saying it, and we all know that they thought that the top man would be removed. So much so that they said that the National Security Committee meeting that had been convened by the Parliament was delayed, and it was delayed because they said that Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Air Chief refused to sit in the meeting. So I don't know how far this is true. Was the division so wide, and now that division doesn't exist?
Okay, now this is really interesting, Nadia, that you have raised this point. I wanted to come to this one. That, there two things were happening on May 9th. One was the physical attacks, the burning, the destruction, the violence. But the other thing that was happening was also this whole social media warfare, info warfare against the sitting army chief, where a lot of accounts affiliated with PTI on Twitter, on WhatsApp, on other platforms, TikTok, were saying, well, the moment has arrived and General Asim Munir will be asked to step down by other generals. They even named General Sahid Shamshad Mirza, who, poor guy, I don't even know whether he had any such intention. And then they kept on, as you said, that the air chief, the naval chief are unwilling to sit in the National Security Committee meeting. General Asim is going. So all of this chatter amounted to an internal coup or a mutiny within the military. Now you see, so on one level we have physical attacks, by PTI, and PTI claims that they were agencies people. Now they have a new theory that it was IB people who had gone infiltrated into the PTI protesters. But enough audio video evidence is now out there in the open. So, but of course, Imran Khan's strength is propaganda warfare. So, but at the second level, a more dangerous thing was happening. Now you see, this particular thing, an internal mutiny, will never be allowed by any general who sits in a top position within the Pakistan army. There's a history. In Pakistan, there have been efforts, 3 or 4 small and big efforts. All were ruthlessly crushed. And all failed because this institution, as an inheritor of the British Army, has retained the internal discipline even today, despite all the charges of, misdoing, political engineering, corruption, etc., perks. The internal discipline of Pakistan Army, and that was my view from the very start. I said this is a misplaced, nonsensical argument because, for the sake of argument, Nadia, hypothetically, suppose there were 2 or 3 commanders who don't like General Asim Munir, because General Asim Munir comes from OTS and he's not a PMA, graduate, or that his policies they don't like, or the fact that, some others wanted to become the chief, but even they would not encourage or allow a mutiny to happen. That would be the end of Pakistan Army, because if you allowed that to happen, and I don't know what Imran Khan was thinking or what his supporters were thinking, even if Imran Khan was not part of this whole thing, because he was in jail, as you know, on May 9th. I mean, he was locked up in that charge, but we know that he had a phone and he was talking to some of his close associates. Those audio leaks have also surfaced.
Absolutely.
But even for the PTI friends and ardent supporters to think that there would be a mutiny was the ultimate blow that they have rendered to themselves. Apne paon pe kulhana marna, as they say in Urdu. They were cutting their own fingers and destroying their own chances, because now this is a red flag. And that is why the reaction that you're seeing now is not, they are painting it as, it's the army's 9/11, the buildings were done this, but actually underneath that is the idea, how dare you incite division within our institution. And of course there can be an argument, well, if Imran Khan was the Prime Minister, he would have the powers to change or shuffle or whatever. He can, fire the army chief or appoint a new one, but not when he's in the opposition. That is the most acceptable thing to the army as an institution. Now the institution has closed ranks, and its institution, Pakistan Army, the military, the armed forces versus Imran Khan and PTI.
So is there a chance of Imran Khan being forgiven for all of this? I mean, yes, he was directly not involved, as you said, that he was behind the bars. But yes, we do know that he had a phone and he was talking to some of his very close aides. But now looking at what is happening in Pakistan, what is happening to PTI right now, do you think there is a chance, because he did say a few days back that he would want to talk to the army chief, but it takes two to tango?
Yes.
So will he be forgiven, or is it just closed doors for him?
So history is a reminder here. I mean, unless, we know that Nawaz Sharif, was in the similar position. To some extent, Benazir Bhutto was in a similar position. And they were not forgiven, right? They were not forgiven easily. So you have to sit out and wait for at least one term. So Nawaz Sharif was ousted in 1999 through a coup, and then he could not come back to power until 2013. Even in the 2008 election, his party did relatively well in the Punjab, but they were far from the winning number. And in 2013, and now you saw that in 2017, once again he was ousted, and he sits outside the Pakistan. He's been disqualified for life, using Dawn League and inviting Modi to his house, and all of the sins that civilian prime ministers commit. But on a separate note, Nadia, I do want to condemn the excessive use of force, the violations of due process that are taking place with PTI workers, some of the PTI affiliated journalists and YouTubers, and some of the party leaders who are now being coerced to leave party. You see, this is not good. I mean, we can't really. So while we obviously do not want Pakistan Army to be completely, weakened through a mutiny or attacks or this and that, at the same time, we cannot accept and we cannot support the things that are being done to PTI. In particular, this I would say reign of terror that everybody has been picked up. All the second tier leadership was in jail. Thousands of PTI workers are in jail, and yes, they should be prosecuted, but many of them may not even be involved in that. How police does roundups, ek list hoti hai, they just go and they do mass arrests and just.
But there is a difference, Raza. Like when you say we learn from our history, you see, when you talk about Benazir Bhutto, you talk about Nawaz Sharif, and then you talk about Imran Khan. Dawn leaks, other stuff, memo grade, let's not forget that also. Here it is something mounting to mutiny within the army, the institution that is mighty. I don't know if it's going to be easily forgiven in one term. I mean, that's too early to say.
It is, I agree with you. It is not going to be easy, Nadia. And the thing is that, first of all, they would need to ascertain how far was Imran Khan actually part of that game, or was it just social media chatter by his uninformed and misled supporters who are continuing with this whole story. So, and the thing is that they're so shameless that they don't even apologize that they were proved wrong. They were making all these claims that this is going to happen, it's about to happen, the Asim Munir is going to be fired, blah blah blah, and nothing of that sort happened. In fact, the tables have turned. So I think it's also, but whether he's forgiven or not, look, ultimately, if we allow democracy to continue, Imran Khan will come back, not now, maybe in a couple of years. But now what we face is the prospect of democracy project after 2008 being wound up. That is the sad part, what is happening. The use of Army Act to try to try civilians, the establishment of military courts, disregard to the verdicts of the High Court and Supreme Court, and in particular, all these workers who are being bailed out, but the police goes and arrests them again. Shireen Mazari was arrested 3 or 4 times. Others have been facing the same ordeal. Now, this is not a good environment for democracy. We have to understand that, let's keep Imran Khan and General Nasim on one side and the mutiny effort, but let's think how this is what we call a creeping coup. The creeping coup, step by step. It's a coup by other names. So you don't have to call it a coup in 21st century. It could be a hybrid coup. As you know, new terms come up. I mean, there was never a perfect democracy even before this. What is happening? But whatever.
But Raza, there is also another view to this. A lot of political commentators are saying these are the same jails that People's Party and members of PMLN had gone in. Why are we making a big deal out of these leaders that they were bailed 5 times, arrested 5 times, just 12 days, and they come under pressure and they call it quits? What about others? So what kind of a political party are those two parties, and what is the difference between this political party?
Yes, so Nadia, I think these are very important points that you're raising. There's, as you have seen, that there's a sea of, world of difference between the PTI and other parties. The other parties, as you rightly mentioned, and others have been trying to mention that, they did not show this kind of, inability to suffer jails or, lockups or cases or whatever. Here they go for, to jail for 2 days. You saw Fawad Chaudhry's viral video where he was going to be arrested again, and he ran from
from his car towards back to the court.
Yeah, I know that. So that particular video, I know people were making fun of it, but that kind of typifies this particular class. Again, we have to see that the class difference is very important. Now, a lot of the PTI supporters are those from the middle classes, professional classes, upper middle class, those who are at the forefront, people like Fawad Chaudhry or Khadija Shah, who's a designer. They are generally affluent people. They are not used to this kind of old politics of standing up in front of the state. They tried on May 9th to become revolutionaries, but within hours and days, we have found out that they are not made of the metal. Even Mr. Khan himself is not made up of that metal. You know how he goes to the courts with that bucket on his head and other stuff, So, and compare this to other leaders. Look at Benazir Bhutto in solitary confinement, etc., etc. There's a long list. But anyway, the comparisons at one level are also pointless in my view, because that was wrong and this is wrong too. You see, Nadia, we are yet to develop a system of fair trial, due process, and credibility of our justice system, because a lot of cases, as you know, even in the case of Imran Khan, more than 100 cases have been registered against him, and not all of them are, correct cases. Many of them are to Yeah.
Absolutely. So lastly, I would like to ask one thing. In a Twitter space that he conducted a few days back, Imran Khan used these words that better to die. And he said it in Urdu, isse behtar mar jao. So is he trying to be as, he compares himself with ZAB also. And there are a lot of other people who now compares Zulfikar Ali Bhutto with Imran Khan. Do you think he's going to be one of those tough souls? Or do you think he will crack a deal?
I think, so far we know, Nadia, that, he's still looking for a deal. He's still saying, talk to me, General Asim Munir, I'm ready to talk to you. You are the one who's not talking to me. And given what is happening to his party, I don't really think that they have the cadres to sustain and launch a movement. The Pakistan People's Party, even though it was not very well organized even in the 1970s, but from 1977 to 1988, for 11 years, the party struggled and struggled and struggled. There were 2 MRD movements. There were people, thousands of them were jailed, hundreds were flogged or tortured, killed, maimed. you name it. So I don't think PTI has come to that. It's a new kind of politics also. But in any case, whether we like Imran Khan's politics or not, he has a right to operate as a political leader. His party has a right to function. All this nonsense of banning PTI, etc., that should be a no-no. His workers who have damaged public property should be prosecuted, brought to justice. There's no question. But these high-handed tactics, I think the military needs to take a deep breath, step back, because it will anger the public opinion and it leads the PTI supporters further. So at this stage, what we need is healing and coming together, reconciliation in Pakistan, not further violence and further divisions, because we are already very, very fragmented and polarized.
We're really running out of time, but this reconciliation that you're talking about, do you not think the onus now lies on Imran Khan? And he should reconcile and he should talk to other political parties, the PDM, the People's Party, rather than looking towards establishment once again?
If Imran Khan is sensible, has political acumen, then the first thing he should do, maybe tonight or tomorrow morning, is to reach out to other parties and talk to them. Unfortunately, he should have done this even before, but he was so used to this solo flight because he has been pampered by the establishment as this one-man solution, one-man messiah figure, that he himself now lives in his own narrative. But he will have to, Nadia, that is his only way of PTI surviving as a political force, and Imran Khan, his politics to survive is that he has to join ranks with other political parties and civilian forces. Otherwise, the establishment definitely is winning, and its intent is very clear by now. It wants to teach PTI Imran Khan a lesson.
Okay, if they're teaching him a lesson in the wake, I think what is really that nobody wants to be compromised is the system of democracy in Pakistan.
Yes.
With that, thank you so much, Raza, for joining us on 20 Minutes for Dawn News English. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.
Thank you.